Today, I'm going to give you two very simple strategies at the beginning part of the day to optimize blood sugar for the entire day. Really simple things to do. Now, why would you want to anyway? Well, number one, if you want to have great hormone production, namely sex hormone production, as you can see here, you've got a gonadotropin-releasing hormone system that sends out pulses every 2 hours for men for LH, which is the precursor for testosterone every 2 hours to the testes to make T, and also FSH for spermagenesis, so you're fertile. Now, when you've got elevations in blood glucose and insulin, as you can see here, it pushes up inflammation within 2 hours. So this elevation there pushes up inflammation, and it also pushes up cortisol, glucocorticoid. So we've been shut down hard. And every 2 hours, you can be sending out pulses of LH and FSH. So that's one reason right there. So as you can see here, the gonadotropin-releasing hormone system, every 2 hours, pulses of LH, testosterone, FSH, spermagenesis. And another big reason why you want to get this right, back to this slide with Dr. Mark Heyman. So he's a functional doctor. Check this out.
Sure. We know clearly that pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, many of the common cancers, pancreatic cancer, are caused by something called insulin resistance, which is prediabetes or poor metabolic health. 93.2% of Americans are in poor metabolic health, meaning they have some form of prediabetes or insulin resistance. They have high blood sugar, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, they're overweight, or they've had a heart attack or stroke. And that poor metabolic health is driving all these conditions, whether it's cancer, heart disease, diabetes, dementia, depression, infertility, so many different things, even acne.
So there's another reason why you want to get this right. There are two simple strategies towards the end there. And the final reason why you want to get this right, your money maker. So as you can see on screen there, insulin resistance and dysglycemia, which is elevations in blood sugar, go hand in hand and they attack your brain. Alzheimer's disease, cognitive impairment, and cerebral degradation. What you see on screen there, this is a PET scan. And this is a now typical 82-year-old brain, quite literally rotting away there. So we certainly want to fix that. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Mark Guyon. I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I work with experts like functional doctors and also my good friend, Dr. J. He did a 5-year PhD in hormones, cholesterol, and also Alzheimer's research. So let's talk about how to optimize blood sugar. When Dr. J did his 5-year PhD on sex hormones, cholesterol, and also Alzheimer's research, he found one of the most deleterious things that are really going to accelerate atherosclerosis, heart disease, but a lot of disease states down the road. And he found that if your fasting blood glucose in America, this is how they measure it in America, is 85 and above, that's a big problem. Well, for us Aussies, 4.7 and above, that's a big problem. Now, guess what? In America, they'll say 100 is okay, when it's really not. In Australia, they'll say 5.5, and the same is true in European units there. So we've really got to pay attention to the new research. So I've got this video to play from Dr. J just to show you how important getting your fasting blood sugar is. Check this out.
85, or for us Aussies or people in the UK there,
4.7.
it's 4.7. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we have to really understand, is just to keep that blood sugar below that thick level. And the mainstream doctors say that 100 is okay. When it's really not, is it?
Oh, it's insane. It's completely insane. What they do in the medical system with sugar is they wait until you get full-blown diabetes before they like to complain about it, because that's when they can start selling drugs. It always goes back to the drug sales and how they're trying to manipulate things for that. But you don't want to wait until you get diabetes to pay attention to your blood sugar. You want to be optimized, right? That's the whole goal in all of this.
Yeah, we want to be optimal. So if you want to be optimal, we've got to get this right. And I'll show you exactly how to do that in the first part of your morning there and keep it stable all day long. Now, this study that Dr. J pointed me to was done over 22 years with healthy, non-diabetic men, and there was 2,000. So they tracked them for over 22 years. Now, what they found was if your fasting blood glucose is above 85, for us Aussies, that's 4.7, had a significantly higher mortality rate from cardiovascular disease. That's because glucose, when it's too high, induces oxidative stress. That's problem number one. And problem number two is it really inhibits growth and recovery. So when glucose is too high, as it says here in humans, or insulin for that matter, so when glucose is up, insulin is up, it inhibits growth hormone release. So as I learned from Matthew Walker, who's got a PhD in neuroscience and he researches sleep, you see here, this is your arteries there, and you've got a protective lining of your arteries called the endothelium, and that has to be renewed and repaired every single day. And as he says, without growth hormone replenishing the lining of your blood vessels, called the endothelium up here, they're shorn and stripped of their integrity. Well, that doesn't sound good. So vessels rupture, heart attack, and stroke become very common. Now, look at what growth hormone does. Number one, it helps you rip off the body fat and provides you energy. Number two, it helps you pack on muscle, men and women. The most important thing that it does is it rejuvenates and repairs tissues and organs. So if you've got dysglycemia, insulin issues, glucose issues, and the medical system will say, you don't have any problem, off you go, they'll send you on your way, but you've got this playing out. So growth hormone helps you repair tissues and organs like the brain, the heart, the blood vessels, include like the whole blood vessel there, including the endothelial, the ovaries for ladies, the testes for men, the intestines, and the gut. Now, gut health is huge, absolutely huge. The kidneys, the muscles, including the smooth muscle of the endothelium here, and also the penis for men. Then you've got the bone marrow, so you've got healthy immune response. Then the bones, the joints, so you don't have knee replacement, hip replacements, also regenerate the liver and the central nervous tissue. So we've got to fix this problem. And one other thing that it does when your blood glucose is too high, too long, you start to form these toxic metabolites called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. Now, they do a lot of deleterious things, but they will age your skin much faster. As this study concludes, AGEs, there's ample evidence, that AGEs play an important role in skin aging because they glycate your skin, wrinkles. Now, when scientists say something is causative, they've proved it conclusively. So these AGEs, many degenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, so brain diseases, cognitive decline, heart disease, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, wrinkles, loss of skin elasticity, infertility. So on this here, you can see how these AGEs have got drooping of the eyes. You got the crow's feet, the dark coloration there. You've also got blemishes. These things start to hang down and you start to sag, like the double chin and the face starts to sag there. So we certainly want to make sure that we correct those issues. Now, what you want to think about it like this. So let's say you're 40 or 50. How much AGEs have you been exposed to through the blood, right? Have you been checking it? But it's also in our food supply. Big food, big problem. It's packed full of these AGEs. So you're getting in 2 doses from big food and also your elevations in blood sugar. So let's talk about how we're going to fix this. So as these studies conclude and show conclusively, we've got to get our fasting blood sugar for us Aussies and Europeans, 4.7 and below, and 85 and below. So as you can see here, it induces oxidative stress. That's not good. It's terrible. And it also increases inflammation and also cortisol there. So it drives diabetes. So a lot of people have got pre-diabetes, insulin resistance, and they're just struggling with energy. And all these metabolic diseases start to show up. So let's talk about how we can correct this. So I'm going to give you 2 examples of how to do this in the morning. Not a lot of effort, and it stabilizes your blood sugar all day long. So Dr. Rhonda Patrick here, she's got a PhD, and she does a lot of research on longevity and a lot of research on exercise. So I've got 3 videos here to play for you. Then I'll show you exactly how to do this in the morning so you've got stable blood glucose. Check this out.
Exercise seems to help correct some of the bad effects of sleep loss. And I've measured this in myself, and there's studies on it with glucose regulation. And when I was a new mother, I was getting no sleep. And I was measuring my glucose with a continuous glucose monitor. I was, getting all that data. And it was night and day difference. I mean, it was so obvious and so repeatable that There's times when I was a new mother, when I was like, I can't even exercise. But then I had that data, and that was like, even if I'm like just dog tired, if I exercise, I'm back to me. The more tired you are, the more you should work out. In fact, when you're not tired, that's when you should not work out. It's like, it's actually the opposite.
Yes.
It's
and then it gets you back to baseline.
Baseline.
Yeah.
Or even above.
So what do a lot of people do? They reach for the snack, pushes up blood sugar, insulin, inflammation, cortisol, and then they reach for the coffee, which can do the same thing too. So as you can see there, we have to do something in the morning to correct that, and I'll provide 2 examples of how to do that. Now, here's another video. It's all about VILPA, very short, intense exercise, right? This is Dr. Ronda speaking to the massive, and I mean massive, long-term health benefits. Check this out.
There's something called Vigorous Intermittent Lifestyle Physical Activity. VILPA, it's somewhat similar to exercise snacks, but it takes advantage of everyday sort of situations to get your heart rate up high and to do some high intensity exercise. So for example, instead of you have to take the stairs every day to work. Well, instead of walking up the stairs, you sprint. You're getting your heart rate high. And, just 3 to 4 minutes a day of this vigorous intermittent lifestyle physical activity has been shown to be associated with a 25 to 30% reduction in overall mortality risk. When that VILPA durations increase to about 9 minutes a day, it's associated with a 50% reduction in cardiovascular related mortality and a 40% reduction in cancer related mortality.
Massive health benefits right there. And it doesn't take a lot, 3 to 4 minutes or even up to 10 minutes per day. And I'll show you how to do that in 2 examples. So as you can see, they're pretty beneficial. Now, I'll just focus in on Dr. James DiNicolantonio's book, The Blood Sugar Fix. Now, this study here was adapted from O'Keefe et al., 2008, and this is a 2-hour postprandial glucose test. So they loaded them with glucose, and they saw how quickly blood sugar dropped back down to the healthy range. So as you can see here, 87 and below, 85, 87 and below. For us Aussies and Europeans, that's 4.7. You've got a coronary regression, right, in heart disease, a regression in heart disease. Now, when it's above that, and remember, the medical system will say in the US, 100 is okay. No. And 5.5 in Australia and European there. So I'll say that's okay. But you can see you've got a heart disease risk, and the higher your blood sugar, the worse that risk is. So another thing you can do after you do your morning exercise is this. Now, this is so easy and powerful to do. It'll keep your blood sugar stable all day long. And I'll explain the benefits or how it actually happens after this concludes.
You guys, I wanted to share a new study with you that was just published last month that found that doing 10 bodyweight squats every 45 minutes was better at improving blood sugar regulation than a single 30-minute walk over an 8.5-hour period of prolonged sitting. So this is very relevant. Many of us sit at our desks for many hours while we're working throughout the day. And I really feel like this study has important implications because it shows that these brief sort of bursts of intense physical activity, so they're often called exercise snacks, can really have a profound impact on metabolic health. And I know I've talked about exercise snacks a lot, but it really does highlight how easy is it to get up and do 10 bodyweight squats every 45 minutes. And, part of the reason for this is because when you're doing that intense physical activity, it is activating transporters on your muscle called glucose transporters, specifically GLUT4 transporters, to come up to your cell surface in the muscle and allow glucose to be taken into the muscle better.
All right. So that's one mechanism of action right there. So when your blood sugar goes up too high and you do that short, intense exercise like those 10 squats, and we've found with the people that we've been helping every hour, so top of the hour, 10 body weight squats, it opens up the transporters for glucose. So glucose in the bloodstream goes into the muscles and it gets out of the bloodstream. So it brings your blood glucose down to healthy levels and it keeps your insulin down as well, which is really important. Another thing that the intense exercise does, not so much these 10 body weight squats, but the VILPA there, it causes shear force in the endothelium. So again, the endothelium there where the blood flows around there, it causes shear force, and that triggers straight away your body to produce more nitric oxide. Now, what does nitric oxide do? Well, I'll show you right here. So when you produce more nitric oxide, it relaxes and expands the arteries. It kills bacteria and cancer cells. It also helps brain cells communicate with each other. And over here, when you've got good nitric oxide production, this single molecule, and this is from Nathan S. Bryant, PhD, so you can pick up that book and check it out. It can prevent high blood pressure, hypertension, combat disease that damages your heart, brain, kidneys, keep your arteries young and flexible, prevent, slow, or reverse the buildup of plaque in the arteries. So that short burst of energy is getting rid of the glucose from the blood into the muscles, and it's also producing more nitric oxide. So you got better blood flow for 4 to 6 hours post-exercise. So if you think about doing that exercise first thing in the morning there, it's going to open up, you're going to have better blood pressure, blood flow, and you're going to start to optimize blood glucose. And you do those 10 body weight squats, top of the hour, every hour, you're going to have stable blood glucose all day long. Now, a lot of people say, well, gee, that's a lot of work. Well, think about all the long-term health consequences if you don't. And another great way to think through this is, what are the benefits mentally? Well, when you do something you don't feel like doing, it triggers a brain circuit called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Now, why is that important? I've got this short video to play from Professor Huberman. Check this out.
The anterior mid-cingulate cortex, neuroscientists knew was there. They didn't know what it did. It's an area that gets inputs and outputs from a lot of different brain areas, like a hub. It gets inputs from the dopamine system, serotonin system, motor system. It's like interconnected with a ton of stuff. But a colleague of mine at Stanford, Joe Parvizi, is a neurosurgeon, is operating on a patient and stimulating different brain areas, and gets in and starts tickling neurons with an electrode in the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And the patient, and it turns out every patient where he does this, says, I feel like there's a storm coming at me, but I'm going to go through it. Or I feel like something's about to happen, but I can lean into it. Okay, interesting. Moves the electrode back a few millimeters, totally different picture. Okay, so this is super interesting. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex increases in size when people take on hard challenges on a consistent basis, decreases in size when they don't. It increases in size in successful dieters, exercisers, people taking on a new skill. It's maintaining size, unlike in other people. It maintains size in a group of people called superagers. It's a bit of a misnomer, because what are superagers? Superagers are people that maintain cognitive ability late into life. They're constantly learning, taking on new challenges. Okay, the summary that we now have is that the anterior mid-cingulate cortex is a brain area that's highly plastic, that grows, that becomes active, and that can actually grow under conditions where we lean into things that we don't want to do.
So the important thing to understand is that every time you do something you don't feel like doing, this brain circuit grows larger, and you're much more likely to do things to get you to the next level of your life. So any challenge that comes your way, you'll be like, yep, I'm going to do this. So the question now becomes, how do we do this VILPA in the morning? So the way that you work this out, you've got to work out your upper heart rate max. And an easy way to do this is your age minus 220 minus your age. So I'm 53. So that for me is about 167 is my 100% heart rate max. So you want to get between 80% and 100% of your heart rate max. So in the morning there, you warm up, say 3 to 5 minutes, get the body warm, and then you can do a short jog, or you can walk on an inclined treadmill. And I try and get my heart rate to about 155, and I do that for about 2 minutes. And then I'll walk. So that's round one. I'll walk for about 2 minutes and get my heart rate down to about 120. And then I'll jog again, back to 155, again for 2 minutes. And then I'll walk for 2 minutes. And that's it. And it takes about 12 minutes to do. And all of those health benefits come along. Now, another thing you can do is go for a 30-minute walk. But instead of walking the whole way, jog for 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and 2 minutes. And you've got all of those health benefits. So this is the easiest way to keep your blood sugar stable. And if you do that within the first 90 minutes of waking, that's going to set you up for more energy, better hormone production, lower glucose, lower insulin. And then if you tack on top of that, top of the hour, every hour, 10 body weight squats, you're going to keep your blood sugar stable all day long. And also, very importantly, make sure you get a health check before you do this intense exercise, right? Make sure you do that. Take your health seriously. What happens if you do this and you still don't optimize your blood sugar? You must do more detective work. It all starts at the exposome. So basically, you could have nutrient deficiencies, vitamin D, magnesium, things like that. Chromium's another big one. And you'll never have optimal blood sugar there. And then your blood labs. So when you do your blood labs, there's two big issues with the current medical system. They don't check all the correct ones, all the critical ones, and they don't get them to optimal range. If you're not optimal, you're not good. Your blood sugar won't optimize. And then beyond that, you can look at your genome, and I've spoken about that in previous videos, should be linked below, food sensitivities, and then gut health. If you've got a sick gut, you will have insulin resistance and be very difficult to optimize your blood sugar. And again, I've got another video about that, and it's linked below. And then, of course, food sensitivities, and I've done a video about food sensitivities. So when you get through all of that and you do the exercise, that's when you'll have great blood sugar. I want to give you two more tools. Tool number one is the coach in your head, Timeboxing. And tool number two is to track your habits. There's something magical that happens in your brain when you're checking things off and you're getting things done. So the first tool that I use, I print out 7 of these. So it's linked below. You don't have to put your name or email address in there. It's freely available. So if you click on that link, you can download it right now. And I use Timeboxing. So I print out 7 of these and I map out my whole week for the most important things that I need to get done, must get done. So I've got a short video here for you to play to show you how to do Timeboxing. Check this out.
Elon Musk uses a secret to enhance his productivity. Numerous articles have shown that Musk uses timeboxing, which according to Harvard is the #1 most effective productivity hack. Timeboxing is a very straightforward process, and it involves 3 simple steps. The first step is called brain dumping, and it's a technique used by experts to formulate your thoughts onto paper. We then identify the top 3 tasks for the day. This is to ensure you don't overlook your most vital objectives. And finally, we timebox, which is where we assign a time to each task. This is to get a visual representation of how much time we have to complete each objective.
And there's something good about that too, because when you wake up in the morning, there's no anxiety. You know what you have to get done. Monday, all the way to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if you work on the weekends. Now, here's another message from Jocko Willink. So he's in my head coaching me throughout the whole day. Not that I've ever spoken to Jocko. He's just my inner coach. And I find that just so valuable to have your own inner coach. So check this out.
If you write down what you're supposed to do tomorrow, tonight, and you do it, that's awesome. And you had a good day and you made progress in your life. Now imagine if you did that for a week. Now imagine if you did that for a month. Now imagine if you did that for a year. Now imagine if you did that for 5 years. Where would you be if you actually did what you were supposed to do?
And if you tack that onto the anterior mid-cingulate cortex doing the harder thing, that brain circuit's growing larger and you're much more likely to be successful at anything you do, any challenge that's in front of you, you're going to attack it like a boss. And when I wake up in the morning, there's a couple of key videos that I've got recycling in my head. Here's one of them.
When I wake up in the morning, I don't think, am I motivated to go do what I'm supposed to do? No, I don't think about it for 1 millisecond. When the alarm clock goes off, I have no thought about whether this is easy, whether this is hard, whether I want to do it, whether I don't want to do it. None of that matters. It's an emotionless, thoughtless discipline. When the alarm clock goes off, you get up, you get out of bed, and you go do what you're supposed to do.
And if you got that time box done, you're a long step in the right direction. And if you want to form these habits like VILPA, on that download, which is freely available, you can download it now. No email address, no name. You track your habits, and there's something magical that happens in your brain when you're checking it off. So again, you've got Sunday all the way to Saturday there, so the whole week is covered. You might want to do VILPA. You might want to increase your active recovery, your cold showers, your weights, your breath work to keep stress down at optimal levels and increase your pain threshold so you can rise to challenges, emotional challenges. There's a lot of things that you can do. So just to summarize there's massive benefits from this VILPA. Make sure that you get a health check before you do it because, you know, you've got less disease, you've got better heart function, you've got better nitric oxide, you've got optimal blood glucose and insulin, cortisol is optimized. And then if you tack on to that, the 10 body weight squats, top of the hour, every hour, you do the time boxing, you do the habit tracking, you're a long step in the right direction. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, legends. And, you know, it's all up to us. You know, I heard a quote once and I'll never forget it. I forget who said it. He says, the magic that you are looking for is the work you're avoiding. The magic that you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. And these two tools that you can download right now is going to help you with that. So I hope you find them of value. So that's it. I'll see you on the next video.